I was just fishing on a quiet Sunday morning when the HOA patrol pulled up, clipboard in hand, ready to fine me for illegal fishing. The same lake that's been in my family for decades, the one they built their fancy homes around. They thought a little fine would scare me off, but instead, I made one move that changed everything. I bought the entire lake, and the next time they showed up to check my permit, I handed them something else entirely, an eviction notice from their own fishing paradise. The sun was barely over the pines when I cast my first line that morning. The lake, my lake, or so I'd always thought, lay mirror still, dragonflies skimming the surface like tiny helicopters. I'd been coming here since I was 8, sneaking out with my grandpa's old bamboo rod, learning that patience wasn't just a virtue, it was a weapon. The water smelled of algae and freedom. A bass hit my lure so hard the reel screamed. I laughed out loud. Life was good. Then came the golf cart. It buzzed up the dirt path like a hornet on steroids, white and pristine, the HOA logo gleaming like a badge of petty authority. Karen, yes, that Karen, the one who'd once fined Mrs. Lopez for a flamingo lawn ornament exceeding color saturation guidelines, stepped out in her visor and clipboard armor. Behind her, Todd, the treasurer, adjusted his Oakley sunglasses like he was about to audit my soul. "Mr. Callahan, this is a restricted fishing zone." I blinked. The worm on my hook dangled like a question mark. Restricted? Since when? Since the board voted last month. Resolution 47B. No fishing without a permit, and permits are resident only. She thrust a neon pink citation at me. $250 for fishing in a lake I could see from my bedroom window. I stared at the paper, the print blurred. "I've been fishing here for 20 years, I said slowly. "My grandpa taught me on this dock." Todd smirked. "Dock's HOA property now. Bought it in 22. You're technically trespassing." Trespassing? On a lake I'd swum in, proposed to my ex in, scattered my dog's ashes in. I looked at the water, then at Karen's clipboard, then at the bass still flapping in my bucket. Something snapped, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet click in my chest, like a safety coming off. I paid the fine, in cash, counted out 20s like I was tipping a stripper. Karen's eyes widened. Todd sniffed. They left in their golf cart, tires spitting gravel. I watched them go, then looked at the lake. Really looked. The dock needed paint. The buoy lines were frayed. The "no fishing" sign someone had nailed to a pine was already peeling. That night, I didn't sleep. I opened my laptop and started digging. The lake, officially Lake Serenity, wasn't HOA owned. Not all of it. The HOA controlled the dock, the shoreline, and a 50-foot easement. But the lake bed, the water rights, those belonged to a defunct fishing club dissolved in 1998. The land around it, 300 acres of cattails, pine, and prime bass habitat, was tied up in a trust. The trust was broke. The lawyer handling it? Desperate. I made a call at 2 a.m. "Mr. Hirsch? Jake Callahan. I want to buy a lake." He laughed so hard he choked on his cigar. 3 weeks later, I owned it. All of it. $1.2 million wired from the sale of my startup, a boring little app that predicted traffic for truckers sold to Uber for stupid money. The HOA didn't notice. They were too busy finding Mr. Patel for his unauthorized vegetable garden. Zucchinis, apparently, violated aesthetic continuity guidelines. I kept fishing. Every morning, same spot, same rod. But now, when Karen's golf cart buzzed up, I waved. She'd glare. I'd smile. The citations stopped coming. They couldn't find me for fishing on my lake, but the war, oh, it was just beginning. Phase 1, the sign. I had a new one made, metal, 6 feet tall, bolted to the dock. Lake Callahan. Private property, no trespassing, no fishing, no golf carts. Violators will be prosecuted. Underneath, in smaller print, HOA members expressly prohibited. Karen saw it on a Tuesday. She screamed so loud the herons took flight. Phase 2, the gate. I hired a crew, chain link, 8 feet high, topped with barbed wire, a keypad entry. The only code? My birthday. The gravel road that looped the lake, HOA maintained for years, now ended at my fence. Residents wanting to walk the shore had to detour 2 miles through blackberry brambles. Todd tried to cut the lock with bolt cutters. I had cameras. I posted the footage to the neighborhood Facebook group with the caption, "Smile, you're on camera. Say hi to your parents." One kid left his shoes. I mailed them back filled with minnows. Winter came. The lake froze. I cut a hockey rink, invited my buddies. We drank whiskey, grilled steaks, played Metallica at 3 a.m. The HOA filed noise complaints. The sheriff, a guy I'd fished with since high school, showed up, took one look at my permit, private property baby, and joined us for a beer. Spring arrived with the ducks. I named them after board members. Karen the duck was a biter. Todd the duck pooped on my dock daily. I didn't mind. It was my dock. But the HOA wasn't done. They had a plan. A big one. They were going to take the lake back, condemn it, eminent domain, turn it into a community asset. They hired surveyors, lawyers, a PR firm. They held rallies, Save Lake Serenity, T-shirts, hashtags, a GoFundMe that raised $47.12. I let them talk, let them march, let them think they were winning. Because I had a secret. The trust, the one I'd bought the lake from, it came with something else. A clause, buried in legalese. A single sentence. In the event of dissolution, all water rights revert to the original grantor's heir. And guess who the heir was? Me. My grandpa hadn't just taught me to fish. He'd owned the lake, back when it was a quarry, before the neighborhood, before the HOA, before Karen and her clipboard. He'd sold the land, but kept the water. A joke, he'd said. A middle finger to the future. I was the future. So when the HOA filed their eminent domain claim, I filed mine. Older, ironclad, signed in 1953 with a fountain pen and a handshake. The judge, a guy who'd once caught a 12-pound bass off my grandpa's dock, read it, looked at Karen, and said, "Case dismissed. And ma'am, get off Mr. Callahan's lake." The courtroom erupted. Karen fainted. Todd dropped his phone. I just smiled. But this wasn't the end, not even close, because now I had a lake, a fortress, a kingdom, and 312 very angry neighbors who used to sunbathe on my beach. They wanted war? I'd give them a monsoon.
The first drone came at dawn. It hovered over the pines like a mechanical mosquito, red light blinking, camera whirring. I was on the dock, coffee in one hand, Grandpa's old rod in the other. The bass were jumping. The sun painted the water gold. Then, bzzd. The drone dipped low, lens aimed at my face. I waved. It didn't wave back. I knew who sent it. Todd. He'd been quiet since the courtroom humiliation. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that buys surveillance gear on Amazon with next day's shipping. I finished my coffee, set the mug down, and reached under the bench. My own purchase. A drone jammer. Military surplus. Legal? Questionable. Effective? Oh, absolutely. I flipped the switch. The drone froze midair, rotors stuttering like a drunk hummingbird. Then it dropped, straight into the lake, a perfect splash. Karen the bass surfaced, inspected the wreckage, and swallowed the camera lens like it was caviar. I posted the video. Drone fishing, 1. Todd, 0. 312 views in an hour. The neighborhood group chat exploded. That was Monday. By Wednesday, the blockade began. They started with the road, the only road in. HOA owned, technically. They parked 3 Suburbans nose to tail, hazards blinking like a funeral procession, signs, road closed, construction. No construction. Just Todd in a reflective vest, sipping a latte, pretending to read a clipboard. I watched from my new tower, a 20-foot platform I'd built in a pine, camouflaged with fake leaves, binoculars, walkie-talkie, a cooler of beer. My buddy Rico on the other end. They're multiplying, man, like gremlins after midnight. I smiled. Let them block the road. I had a lake. Phase 1, the flotilla. I'd been busy. 3 kayaks, 2 paddleboards, a pontoon boat I'd christened the Middle Finger, solar panels, Bluetooth speakers, a flagpole flying the Callahan crest, a bass eating a golf cart. I loaded supplies, groceries, ammo, paintballs, and 500 rubber ducks armed with tiny GoPros. I launched at dusk. The pontoon cut through the water like a lazy shark. Speakers blared Sweet Caroline. The rubber duck navy followed in formation. I live-streamed it. Title, Supply Run, HOA Blockade Edition. Viewers, 1,200 and climbing. Todd saw me coming. He ran to the shore, vest flapping. "You can't use the lake access!" I killed the engine, drifted. "This is the access, Todd. You blocked the road. I'm on water. My water." He sputtered. Karen appeared, megaphone in hand. "This is a violation of—" I hit play on my phone. Bagpipes, Scottish War March, volume 11. They retreated. I docked at the far shore, unloaded groceries, and left a gift, a crate of zucchinis, Mr. Patel's crop, with a note, "Thought you could use these, Jay." Phase 2, the moat. They tried the fence next, bolt cutters, hacksaws, a battering ram made from a yoga ball and desperation. My cameras caught it all. I didn't stop them. I encouraged them, because I'd dug a moat. Not medieval, just smart. A trench, 6 feet deep, 10 feet wide, filled with lake water, pumped in overnight, lined with cattails, stocked with snapping turtles I'd relocated from a golf course pond. The fence sat behind the moat now. To reach it, you had to cross water, in Crocs, at night. The first attempt was legendary. 3 teens, flashlights, a ladder. They made it halfway before the turtles attacked. Screams, splashes. One kid lost a shoe. Another lost his dignity. I posted the footage with yakety sax. 47K views. The HOA banned TikTok. Phase 3, the ducks. I'd underestimated the ducks. Karen the duck laid eggs. 12. They hatched into fury, tiny yellow terrorists. They patrolled the moat like feathered piranhas, attacked ankles, stole sandwiches. One bit Pod's calf so hard he needed stitches. The ER doctor asked if he'd been mugged by a goose. I named the ducklings after the board. Little Karen was the biter. Many Todd pooped on command. The HOA fought back with decoys, plastic owls, fake coyotes, a motion-activated sprinkler that played God Bless America. The ducks ignored it. They used the sprinkler as a shower. Then came the lawyers. Phase 4, the paper war. They served me FIC packets, cease and desist, injunctions, claims of nuisance wildlife, unpermitted structures, emotional distress to the community. They wanted the moat drained, the tower dismantled, the ducks euthanized. I countersued again, this time for defamation of character, calling my ducks weaponized. Trespass by air, the drones. Theft of zucchinis, someone stole the crate. Hirsch, my lawyer, added a line, plaintiff seeks $1 for every tear shed by a child denied access to lake. We attached photos, kids at the fence, pouty faces, one holding a sign, I miss the ducks. The judge scheduled a hearing, fast-tracked. The HOA celebrated, prematurely, because I had a plan. Phase 5, the festival. I announced it on every platform. Callahan Lake Summer Solstice Festival, open to the public, free entry, live music, barbecue, fireworks, BYOB, bring your own boat. Date, the day before the hearing. The HOA panicked. They tried to block permits. I didn't need permits, private property. They tried to block noise. I hired shuttle buses from the city. They tried to block noise. I hired a bluegrass band that played underwater. Subwoofers in barrels. The day arrived. 500 people, food trucks, a bouncy castle on a raft, a dunk tank where you could dunk a cardboard cutout of Karen. The ducks were tiny hats. The bass jumped on cue. I gave a speech from the pontoon. This lake isn't mine. It's ours. Anyone who loves it is welcome. Anyone who tries to gate it can swim with the turtles. The crowd roared. The HOA showed up, in force. Golf carts, megaphones, signs, shut it down. They tried to serve papers mid-festival. A process server in a suit waded into the moat, lost a loafer, got chased by Minnie Todd. The video went viral. 2.1 million views. Hashtag Lake Rebellion trended. The hearing was a circus. The judge, same guy, watched the footage, laughed so hard his robes shook. Then he ruled. Mr. Callahan's moat is a decorative water feature. His tower is a treehouse. His ducks are therapeutic wildlife. Case dismissed, and HOA pay his legal fees. Karen fainted again. Todd dropped his latte. The festival crowd, watching on a jumbotron I'd rented, cheered so loud the bass stopped biting. But the war wasn't over. They had one card left. Phase 6, the leak. Someone hacked the HOA emails, leaked them. Thousands of messages, years of pettiness. Fines for excessive Christmas lights, threats to tow Mrs. Lopez's flamingo, a secret plan to sell the community pool to a developer, and the kicker? A plot to poison the lake, drain it, turn it into condos. The sender? Anonymous. IP traced to a Starbucks in Canada. I didn't do it, but I didn't stop it. The neighborhood turned on the HOA, on Karen, on Todd. A recall vote, emergency meeting, 284 attendees, 283 votes to dissolve the board, 1 abstention, Karen still recovering from fainting. I watched from my tower, beer in hand.
Ducks at my feet. The lake sparkled. But then, the call. Hirsch, voice tight. Jake,
They're not done. They found something in the original trust, a clause about mineral rights. I froze. Under the lake, under my lake, was oil, a lot of it, enough to make billionaires blush. And the HOA? They'd known for months. They'd been stalling, buying time, waiting for the survey. They didn't want the lake. They wanted what was under it. And now? Now they had a new plan, a big one. They were going to drill.
The survey crew arrived at 4:17 a.m. I know because I never sleep anymore. The tower is my bedroom now. Hammock strung between branches, rifle across my lap, night vision goggles fogging with lake mist. The rigs rolled in on flatbeds, lights off, tires crunching gravel like bones. 6 trucks, seismic gear, a portable derrick folded like a metal praying mantis, black SUVs with government plates, and in the lead cart, Karen. Hair in curlers, robe over pajamas, eyes wild with victory. They thought I was asleep. I wasn't. I hit the floodlights. 10,000 lumens. Mounted on buoys, solar charged. The lake ignited like a football stadium. The rigs froze. Karen shielded her eyes. Todd, riding shotgun in a hard hat 2 sizes too big, dropped his thermos. Coffee steamed on the dashboard. I spoke through the PA system I'd wired into the pines. Voice calm, amplified, everywhere. "Morning, neighbors. You're on private property. Leave the keys and walk away. You've got 60 seconds. Karen found her megaphone. "This is eminent domain, Callahan. The state needs the oil. National interest. You can't stop progress." I smiled, hit a second switch. The lake moved. Not waves, not wind. The entire surface rippled like a living thing. Then, boom, a geyser, 50 feet high, straight from the center, followed by another and another. Controlled charges, buried weeks ago. Divers from the Navy buddy I'd fished with in Bahrain. The rigs rocked. Men screamed. One flatbed slid backward into the moat. Turtles swarmed the tires. Karen's megaphone squealed feedback. I gave them 30 seconds. They didn't leave. Phase 1, the flood. I dammed the inlet stream, quietly. Beavers helped, don't ask. The valve was a Bluetooth gate. I opened it from my phone. A wall of water, knee-high, fast, rushed down the access road. The SUV spun. The derrick truck bogged. Todd tried to drive through. His golf cart floated. He clung to the roof like a drowned cat. Phase 2, the swarm. The ducks had grown, full size now. Honking fury. I'd trained them with whistles and sardines. One blast, attack. I blew the whistle. 200 ducks descended. Wings, beaks, poop like mustard gas. The surveyors ran. One left his boots, another left his dignity. Karen stood her ground, robe soaked, curlers askew. She screamed into her phone, "Send the sheriff, send the National Guard, send someone." The sheriff was already there. He pulled up in his cruiser, lights off, sipping coffee from my dock's fridge. He'd been watching the live feed. 1.2 million viewers. #Drillgate, trending worldwide. He stepped out, tipped his hat to me, and said loud enough for the mics, "Private property, no warrant. Y'all best get." Karen lunged at him. He sidestepped. She face-planted in mud. But this wasn't the end. They had permits, real ones, signed by a judge in another county. Oil company lobbyists, state senators, a temporary lease under emergency energy powers. They'd be back. With bulldozers, with armed guards, with lawyers who billed by the sneer. I needed a miracle. I got one. Phase 3, the will. Grandpa's will, the real one, Not the trust, the original, hidden in a coffee can under the dock since 1974. I'd found it while replacing boards. Yellowed paper, fountain pen. One line that changed everything. To my grandson Jake, the lake, the land, and the secret beneath. Use it wisely, or blow it sky high. Beneath the lake wasn't just oil. It was a cave. A limestone cavern. Collapsed quarry. Grandpa had blasted it shut in '53 to stop the mining company then. Sealed it with dynamite and a promise. The oil? Trapped. Untouchable. Unless you drilled through the cave. And the cave? Sacred. Native land. Pre-colonial fishing site. Artifacts. Petroglyphs. A burial mound. Federally protected. Untouchable by law. I called the tribe. Phase 4, the elders. They came at sunset. 3 canoes, cedar paddles. Elder Mary, 92 years old, sharper than Karen's tongue, stepped onto my dock. I knelt, offered tobacco, showed her the will, the cave maps, the survey stakes already hammered into the lake bed. She looked at the rigs, at Karen's muddy robe, at the ducks now wearing tiny war bonnets, Rico's idea. She smiled. Boy, you just started a powwow. Within hours, the reservation declared the lake a cultural heritage site. Federal injunction. Immediate. The oil company's stock dipped 7%. The state senator deleted his Twitter. Karen screamed. Todd cried. The rigs left at dawn, towed by shame. But I wasn't done. Phase 5, the truth. I held a press conference on the pontoon. Live streamed, 3.8 million viewers. I read the will, showed the cave photos, divers with GoPros, petroglyphs glowing under UV. I revealed the HOA's secret plan. Sell the lake, pocket millions, blame environmental collapse. I played the leaked emails, the poison plot, the condo renderings. The neighborhood watched from the fence, silent. Then they cheered. Not for me, for the lake. Phase 6, the reckoning. The HOA dissolved, officially. Karen resigned in disgrace, caught on camera trying to bribe Elder Mary with a Costco pie. Todd fled to Florida. Rumor says he's selling timeshares to alligators. The fines? Refunded. Every cent. The flamingo returned to Mrs. Lopez with a parade. I reopened the lake. Not as a kingdom, as a trust. Callahan Mary Heritage Lake. Open to all. Free fishing. Free kayaks. Free hot dogs on Fridays. The ducks are mascots. The turtles are security. The bass, still named Karen. She's the biggest. 1 year later, I'm on the dock. Same rod, same sunrise. A kid casts beside me, Mr. Patel's grandson. He hooks a bass, reels it in slow. I smile. Karen the bass flips once, winks, lets go of the hook. The kid laughs. She's a fighter. Yeah, but she knows when to quit. Behind us, the neighborhood plays. Kids on the rope swing, teens on paddleboards, old men in lawn chairs telling lies about fish. Elder Mary sells fry bread. The sheriff grills burgers. Someone's flying a kite shaped like a duck. I look at the water. Clear, deep, alive. Grandpa's voice in my head. Use it wisely. I did. I used it to drown an empire of clipboards and build a lake that belongs to everyone. Forever. If you think that HOA got exactly what it deserved, hit that like button and subscribe for more wild HOA revenge stories. Because sometimes the best payback isn't shouting or fighting. It's owning the very thing they tried to take from you. Drop a comment if you'd do the same, and remember, karma hits harder when you've got the deed in your hand.